Welcome to the Edge of Greatness podcast. The path to greatness is never linear and requires patience and consistency. Join us on our journey as we peel back the layers of success, searching for that elusive core. Each week we will explore a different component of greatness, utilizing experts who have traveled some part of the path that we are all on. We aim to uncover insights into the areas of leadership, coaching, performance, overcoming failure, the power of habits, and so much more. We are all on the edge of greatness.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Edge of Greatness podcast. I'm your host, Charles Schultz, and today I've got a little chalk talk session for you guys that's going to feed off of what we were talking about last week. But first, what I want to do is talk to you about a couple things that we're going to be trying to implement going into, I guess we're going to call it season 3. But what we're doing now is we're working on building a YouTube channel to go along with the podcast. So if you haven't had a chance, go check out the Edge of Greatness podcast on YouTube. Subscribe. I have one interview up currently. We will be adding to that shortly with some of the past interviews, as well as linking the new ones going into season 3. The other thing that we're working on with all of this is continuing to build the Chalk Talk session into something that might be more interactive. What we're looking to do is make this a live broadcast. So when I do the Chalk Talk session, we'll do it live via Facebook, Instagram, whatever. It's going to be the best platform for that. What I want from you guys is to know what days, what times, what area you'd like to see this go live. So where would we be best to get you engaged with the live broadcast? Would it be better to do it on a weekend? Would it be better to do it during the evening? Would it be better to do it during the afternoon as a midweek kind of pick-me-up? The idea behind the Chalk Talks is they'll still be short little sessions. They will be 10 to 15 minutes ideally, and we're going to talk about specific topics and kind of build, I think, week to week off of what we were doing the week before. So it's going to be something that we're going to try to evolve a little bit from what it's been. We're going to kind of keep the same idea and thought process rolling with it, where it's kind of be what's on the top of my mind, some different tips and pointers to kind of add to what you guys are doing to develop your process towards becoming great, and go from there. So if you are listening to this now, take a moment, let me know what you think, what days might be best, what times might be best, where you'd like to see this happen. The information you give back to me allows us to make the most informed decision for doing the live broadcast. So from there, actually, now let's get into the episode here. Last week I talked about doing the little things well and why the greats become great. They have this ability to focus on specific tasks. They do them religiously. They do them until they become perfect at them, and it makes them better each and every week. So what I want to do this week is talk to you about something that I've been working on and how it's kind of being implemented over time. One of the things that I find that's very interesting is the ability to communicate effectively and the ability to communicate well. Recently, I had a failure to communicate, so it woke me up a little bit about my ability to communicate. And from that, I've then recently been invited to be on a podcast, and I got a chance to listen to myself talk when it's not me doing the interview, but being the interviewee. And it's a little bit different. I think it's a little bit more relaxed, honestly, to be the person answering the questions, because the direction of the conversation isn't up to you. You just kind of go with the flow. It allows for free thought, and you just kind of let it all kind of come out. What I was listening to, though, is after listening to some of the podcasts and some different podcasts and different people, is a lot of people who communicate tend to add multiple filler words all the time. And for me right now, one of the little things I'm trying to do is eliminate the filler words from my communication. So taking time to pause, slow myself down, make sure I'm clear with what I'm saying is something that I'm trying to do better with, because I find that when you hear a lot of ums or likes or or does that make sense, or those types of fillers between your communication and your topics, it takes away from the content and it becomes distracting. And with that being said, the most important thing when you're communicating, especially via a podcast where your voice is the only way to communicate. Now, obviously going to YouTube is going to help because people can interact with my face and my gestures and stuff like that. But primarily what we started as was a podcast, and the ability to communicate clearly, to communicate effectively, and to say things without constant distractions and annoying different things that kind of click and pop or make weird noises and sounds in your speech, I think is valuable. The people I like the most when I listen to their podcasts, there aren't a lot of filler words. There's not a lot of uncertainty or breaks in the conversation from an or what or and there's not a lot of that going on. There are pauses though, which I think is very valuable. I think being able to stop, pause, and then continue to communicate clearly and effectively is so powerful compared to trying to fill it with sound. You don't always have to make noise. You don't always have to be projecting a sound to communicate. So when you're having a conversation, when you're talking, especially in a setting where you're being interviewed or you're trying to go on a broadcast of some kind, take your time, try to eliminate the ums, try to eliminate the likes or the or those types of things that make you feel comfortable with your natural speech, and take your breath and relax. If you do that, you'll find that there's not a lot of reason to fill the empty space with just random sounds or noises. Then your speech becomes more clear. Then your thought process becomes more clear because you're focused on what you're saying, the intent of what you're trying to deliver, and the conversation becomes a lot more coherent and fluid and just pleasant to listen to. So as you continue to work on your ability to communicate well, think of the way that you talk currently, think of the things that you say a lot, and determine if those are words that are important to the conversation or if they're just filler points for you to allow your mind to catch up to what you're trying to deliver as far as the information. Most of the time when people make sounds in the middle of their communication or use specific word phrases, it's to allow their mind to catch up with what they're trying to say, so they feel like they need to make a noise of some kind, and we just choose an easy phrase or word that kind of flows out of our mouth. Over time it becomes habit, and then it's kind of difficult to break actually. As you continue to work on this, be aware of what you're saying. Take your time. Don't be afraid to slow down, and don't be afraid to have dead air. There's nothing wrong with taking a pause, allowing yourself to collect your thoughts, and then delivering the right words at the right time. If you do this, you will become a more effective leader. Your speech will be more clear. People will appreciate listening to what you have to say, and it won't sound like you're unsure. It won't sound like you're trying to find the right answer while you're communicating. It will just be a break in the communication that allows you to think and sound effective. Anyway, as you continue to do these things, reflect back to me. Also, remember, I'm looking for times, days. The most important thing is what platform maybe you'd like to listen to the live broadcast on. As always, if you haven't yet, please subscribe. We're looking to increase our subscribers, as well as I would love it if you would leave me a review or rate the show, because those are ways for me to, one, become more noticed for a larger population, but also it gives me great feedback to know how we can improve what we're giving you. All right. So as always, keep reaching for the stars, fall flat on your face. But remember, whenever we fall, always get up.
Thank you for joining us today on the Edge of Greatness podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and join us again next time as we continue to dig deeper into the key components of greatness. The path to greatness is never linear, so remember to keep pursuing greatness no matter what. Keep stretching your abilities, reach for the stars, and fall flat on your face. But no matter what happens, remember, whenever we fall, always get up. Until next time, I'm Charles Schultz, and this was the Edge of Greatness podcast.